Shemoth, Exodus chapter 3. And Mosheh was shepherding the flock of Yithro, his father-in-law, the Kohen of Midian, and he led the flock to the back of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of Elohim. And the messenger of Yahuah appeared to him in a flame of fire from the midst of a bush. And he looked and saw the bush burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. And Mosheh said, "Let me turn aside now and see this great sight, why the bush does not burn." And Yahuah saw that he turned aside to see, and Elohim called to him from the midst of the bush and said, "Mosheh, Mosheh." And he said, "Here I am." And he said, "Do not come near here. Take your sandals off your feet, for the place on which you are standing is Kodesh ground." And he said, "I am the Elohim of your father, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzhak, and the Elohim of Yaakov." And Mosheh hid his face, for he was afraid to look at Elohim. And Yahuah said, "I have indeed seen the oppression of my people who are in Mitzrayim, and have heard their cry because of their slave drivers, for I know their sorrows. And I have come down to deliver them from the hand of the Mitzrayites, and to bring them up from that land to a good and spacious land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. And now see, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression with which the Mitzrayites oppress them. And now come, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Mitzrayim." And Mosheh said to Elohim, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Mitzrayim?" And he said, "Because I am with you. And this is to you the sign that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Mitzrayim, you are to serve Elohim on this mountain." And Mosheh said to Elohim, "See, when I come to the children of Israel and say to them, 'The Elohim of your fathers has sent me to you,' and they say to me, 'What is his name?' what shall I say to them?" And Elohim said to Mosheh, "I am that which I am." And he said, "Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, 'I am has sent me to you.'" And Elohim said further to Mosheh, "Thus you are to say to the children of Israel, 'Yahuah, Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzhak, and the Elohim of Yaakov has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my remembrance to all generations. Go, and you shall gather the elders of Israel together, and say to them, Yahuah, Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, of Yitzhak, and of Yaakov, appeared to me, saying, I have indeed visited you and seen what is done to you in Mitzrayim. And I say, I am bringing you up out of the affliction of Mitzrayim to the land of the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Amorite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, to a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall listen to your voice, and you shall come, you and the elders of Israel, to the sovereign of Mitzrayim, and you shall say to him, Yahuah, Elohim of the Ivrim, has met with us. And now, please, let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness to slaughter to Yahuah, our Elohim. But I know that the sovereign of Mitzrayim is not going to let you go, not even by a strong hand. And I shall stretch out my hand and smite Mitzrayim with all my wonders which I shall do in its midst. And after that he shall let you go. And I shall give this people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrayites. And it shall be that when you go, you shall not go empty-handed, but every woman shall ask from her neighbor, and from the stranger in her house, objects of silver, and objects of gold, and garments, and you shall put them on your sons and on your daughters, and shall plunder the Mitzrayites. Shemoth, Exodus chapter 4. And Mosheh answered and said, And if they do not believe me, nor listen to my voice, and say, Yahuah has not appeared to you. And Yahuah said to him, What is that in your hand? And he said, A rod. And he said, Throw it on the ground. So he threw it on the ground, and it became a serpent, and Mosheh fled from it. And Yahuah said to Mosheh, Reach out your hand and catch it by the tail. So he reached out his hand and seized it, and it became a rod in his hand, so that they believe that Yahuah, Elohim of their fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzhak, and the Elohim of Yaakov, has appeared to you. And Yahuah said to him again, Now put your hand in your bosom. And he put his hand in his bosom, and when he took it out, and see, his hand was leprous like snow. And he said, Put your hand in your bosom again. So he put his hand in his bosom again, and drew it out of his bosom, and see, it was restored like his other flesh. And it shall be, if they do not believe you, nor listen to the voice of the first sign, they shall believe the voice of the later sign. And it shall be, if they do not believe even these two signs, or listen to your voice, that you shall take water from the river, and pour it on the dry land. And the water which you take from the river shall become blood on the dry land. And Mosheh said to Yahuah, O Yahuah, I am not a man of words, neither before nor since you have spoken to your servant, for I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. And Yahuah said to him, Who has made man's mouth? Or who makes dumb, or deaf, or seen, or blind? Is it not I, Yahuah? And now go, and I shall be with your mouth, and teach you what to say. But he said, O Yahuah, please send by the hand of whom you would send. And the displeasure of Yahuah burned against Mosheh, and he said, Is not Aaron the Levite your brother? I know that he speaks well, and see, he is also coming out to meet you, and when he sees you, he shall be glad in his heart. And you shall speak to him, and put the words in his mouth, and I am with your mouth, and with his mouth, and I shall teach you what to do. And he shall speak for you to the people, and it shall be that he shall be a mouth for you, and you shall be an Elohim for him. And take this rod in your hand, with which you shall do the signs. Then Mosheh went and returned to Yethro his father-in-law, and said to him, Please let me go and return to my brothers who are in Mitzrayim, to see whether they are still alive. And Yethro said to Mosheh, Go in peace. And Yahuah said to Mosheh in Midian, Go, return to Mitzrayim, for all the men are dead who sought your life. So Mosheh took his wife and his sons, and put them on a donkey, and he returned to the land of Mitzrayim. And Mosheh took the rod of Elohim in his hand. And Yahuah said to Mosheh, As you go back to Mitzrayim, see that you do all those wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in your hand. But I am going to harden his heart, so that he does not let the people go. And you shall say to Pharaoh, Thus said Yahuah, Yisrael is my son, my firstborn. So I say to you, Let my son go to serve me. But if you refuse to let him go, see, I am killing your son, your firstborn. And it came to be on the way in the lodging place that Yahuah met him and sought to kill him. And Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and threw it at Mosheh's feet and said, You are indeed a bridegroom of blood to me. So he let him go. Then she said, You are a bridegroom of blood because of the circumcision. And Yahuah said to Aaron, Go to meet Mosheh in the wilderness. And he went and met him on the mountain of Elohim and kissed him. Mosheh then told Aaron all the words of Yahuah who had sent him, and all the signs which he had commanded him. And Mosheh went with Aaron, and gathered together all the elders of the children of Yisrael, And Aaron spoke all the words which Yahuah had spoken to Mosheh. Then he did the signs before the eyes of the people. And the people believed. And they heard that Yahuah had visited the children of Israel, and that he had looked on their affliction, and they bowed their heads and did obeisance.